Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our first Masterclass of 2026. That's Frameworks in Success in 2026, Action Planning Masterclass. This is where we're looking to help public sector suppliers, tech suppliers understand the framework landscape, what I'm quoting as Framework Mageddon 2, because there's an awful lot of them. And it's basically a full year of it. We'll come on to that to help you choose and understand so you don't miss out on any of the key vital ones, making sure you're able to actually plan and decide which ones you'd like to apply for or be on, and make sure you don't miss any. My name's Chris Farthing. I'm the founder and CEO of ViceCloud. I'm delighted to be joined today by Chris Williamson, who's our new head of sales, and Christina Smart, who is our marketing lead for this webinar. And also our facilitator. So you really have actually got three Chris's for the price of one today. So that's one of our free gifts for you. We do have a number of surprises and free gifts for you later on. If you are watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss future content. We've got loads more advice and practical sessions on selling to public sector, just like this one. And while you're at it, everyone on Twitter, mind follow us on LinkedIn for our regular updates, tips, and guidance on public sector sales and procurement, or otherwise I'll send Chris around to make sure that you do. Okay, so without further ado, let's crack on. So the agenda today, so we're going to do the introductions and session goals. We'll talk through the framework landscape for 2026 in terms of what's coming up, why planning now matters, how to help you how to understand which routes to market are right for you. Because there's so much, I'm going to have to skip over quite a lot, but you'll see in the way that we presented the content, there's hyperlinks to a lot of the frameworks we talk about. There's start and finish dates, the values, and a description of them, and you'll be able to then, when we send out the slides, you'll be able to go into those hyperlinks and be able to make a bit more better informed judgment. We can't cover every single one of them. We are going to talk through the main key ones that we're supporting. Okay, we're very much aware of how qualification is becoming more and more difficult. The Procurement Act hasn't helped here at all. So we'll talk through a lot of the common qualification requirements. Then Chris will talk to you about, we'll talk to you about planning ahead, building a 2026 framework action plan, how we can help, and then we'll go into Q&A towards the end, leaving plenty of time, hopefully, for questions and answers. Okay, so without further ado, let's crack on. So for those of you who've not been on one of our masterclasses or webinars before, we are a ViceCloud. We are a public sector procurement specialist organisation. I'm an ex-public sector buyer for my sins and came out of service about 11 years ago. We have extensive framework and bidding expertise. We've been doing this for outside of Gov for about 11 years now. I've got 20 odd years before that in Gov, in central, local, health, regulatory, policing, the whole lot really. And we are trusted by SMEs, scale-ups and industry leaders. So, two of the big four management consultants are clients of ours. We've got a number of the larger GSIs, global systems integrators, plus the vast majority of the infrastructure providers come to us as well. We are very proud to be certified Great Place to Work for 2 years running now. It's a really important part of our culture. And certified carbon neutral as well by Positive Planet. So all these things try to help us do a little bit better and help the people and planet and help us meet our purpose. Which, to be honest, is about trying to help SMEs. So we do at the larger companies in the group. We can't avoid working with those, but 73% of our clients are small to medium enterprises. Over £2.5 billion worth of cumulative business is won by our clients as a direct result of our work, not just because they've been on those frameworks, but as a direct result of the work that we do. Yeah, and nearly 600 clients have been supported with their public sector bidding and buying. All right, so there's quite a lot of stuff there we've got. We do know what we're talking about. All right, so let's crack on with the framework landscape for 2026. So I've called it Framework Mageddon. I've called this term last year because there was a number of frameworks that were going on that were really key and important. So we had tech services, there was DOS 7, there was tech transport, and then we thought G-Cloud was coming. So they're all going to be bunched together, and it felt like it was a never-ending thing of frameworks. So I called it Framework Mageddon, just to try and lighten the load a little bit. But looking at this at the end of last year, thinking how we're going to plan for doing our planning for the year ahead, it became very evident that even including Crown Commercial Services, which are the ones that we mainly focus on, we've decided to include some of the others such as YPO and NHS Shared Business Services because they are quite key as well. And there are an awful lot of them I'm planning this year. All right, so why does planning early matter? Okay, so as I said, there's 14 plus frameworks that we've seen that are actually possibly worth joining in plan for 2026. And again, but not all of them are suitable and worth the effort for, depending on the types of work you're looking for, the sort of organisation you are, and how you can integrate that into your sales process. Qualification requirements vary and they evolve and they change. CCS are becoming fairly relatively standardized in their stuff, but it's not standardized in a good way. And framework timelines will often change as well, especially, we talked about NHS Shared Business Services earlier. Just now, you'll see there's about three or so of their frameworks. They're notorious for being late with stuff. So, they never get anything out on time. Preparation often takes a lot longer than expected. So if you're leaving it to the last minute, you're on a hiding for nothing with a lot of these things now. Many SMEs have limited internal resources. I'd be surprised if you could go to any SME want to go for all 14 of these things. But they're very different anyway, so you probably wouldn't. But the early planning gives you control and reduces risk. And with that, it's a quote from a client of ours who's been working with us about 4 years now. And he said we used to have a get together, and he came up to me and said, look, I wish I'd known about you sooner. Not being on the digital specialist framework has cost him in excess of £30 million in lost revenue. We've obviously remedied that now, guys, on there, and but he's lost that by one, not being able to bid for those opportunities and finding suitable partners to bid through, or when he's found suitable partners to bid through, has found that it hasn't quite worked out as he planned, and those contracts haven't gone well. A lot of them have gone well, don't get me wrong, but being in control of your own destiny is much better than relying on someone else. So here's the timeline. As you can see, there it goes there. So starting at the moment, you've got starting this month actually, you've got ICT managed services, CCS payment solutions, CCS voice and data, NHS stuff. You can see here it's a never-ending stream right through to January 2027 of some fairly chunky and fairly important frameworks. All right. I do feel, for me, I sell framework access for a living as well as helping people bid. So for me, it's like, okay, this gives me a fairly certainty in my pipeline, but it also, I start to think, oh, this is a bit much, there's a lot here, but at least hopefully we'll be able to help you identify these. So in terms of going into the timetable, this is what I was talking about here. We talked about on these tables, I've got these slides here, who the provider is, what the framework name is, when the ITT is due to start, and if you see a star there, that is our best guess, okay? So don't hold our nose to that one. When it's due to close, again, I actually estimated there, when the framework is due to go live, what its value is. Now, this really helps you understand with whether, when you have a look at that, how many suppliers are going to be on there. Oops, sorry. How many suppliers are going to be on there, what the value is, how much you think that work that can be worth for you. And finally, let's talk about the type of service we offer here. We offer two types of service, which Chris will talk through in that, but you can refer back to here to discuss, you'll find out the sort of services we're offering around that. So as you can see here already, we've got the Met Office and CCS tactical comms are open now already. The delivery partnerships for Met Office is quite an SME friendly one. The tactical comms one for CCS, which used to be part of Network Services 3, is part of Network Services 3, will not be part of Network Services 4. It was Lot 1C in Network Services 3. They're open now, and tactical comms extraordinarily SME friendly. Okay. You just got to have really cyber essentials, I think, a decent your insurance, a number of tax, and a gold supply, so a decent financial background. You can see we've got payment solutions 3, mobile voice and data. If you're looking to break into that market, I'd probably suggest you ignore that. It's quite narrow, the amount of suppliers that are going to be on there. You've got NHS, SBS Healthcare AI, and tech-enabled care services there. As you can see, these are all running in date order. And as I say, we try to help out by getting hyperlinks into each one of these, okay? And we'll talk about in a bit more detail on some of the more key ones and core ones that we're looking to support on in a bit. So on to the next slide. Again, we've got the Yorkshire Purchasing Organisation Software Application Services. There's CCS Public Sector Software, which is an absolutely key and critical one. We'll talk to you through that one. Looking at the amount of money they're looking at, have that is £14 billion they're expecting. Now, the ceiling value should always be taken with a pinch of salt, and I tend to halve the value of that, what I think will actually go through it, but still in, when it's, this I think is due to last for a couple of years. 7 billion pounds going through that for software is an insane amount of money. Okay, you've got the YPO networks framework. Now that's currently we put that in there because it's on its first 2 years, but it has a 2-year extension. So we think that's likely to be extended to 2029. In fact, I mean, I'd be really surprised if it comes back out. Another really important framework, Network Services 4, talk through that in a minute. There's Crown Commercial Service Employee Benefits. There is a digital and tech element to this, okay? It's quite far end of it, but you know, we try to make sure we're covering as much as we possibly can. Again, something here that is quite a very useful framework for if you're providing interim and temporary staff, and there's a lot of digital and IT staff that get placed through this clinical and non-clinical temporary and permanent staff here. I think it's clinical, what it used to be called. There's another name for this previously, and it's Crown Commercial Services working with a number of other providers on this. I think LPP are involved as well. But again, that is still worth quite a lot of money, and is something we're definitely going to be supporting. You've then got consultancy professional services at the same time. Dallas 2 from HMRC is due out in October 26th. Now, whether that actually goes ahead or not, there's something of a internal battle, I think, going between Crown Commercial, who feel that there's other routes to market with DOS 7 and Tech Services 4. But HMRC being HMRC, they have a lot of financial clout, and they may decide to rerun it themselves. And finally, if the resellers amongst you are on this call, or the larger infrastructure providers that provide lots and lots of infrastructure services around tech products, including hardware and software, then this one is an absolute core one to get on again as well when it comes out at in January next year. So that's a quick canter through the timetable. Okay, let's have a look now at the ICT Managed Services one. This one is due to open some point in February. I know there is a market engagement they're having on the 13th of February, which we'll be attending, so we'll be able to update. If you're interested in this, there'll be a way to let us know, or you can just send us an email or book some time with us. I want to talk more about this. It's going to be what's called an open framework, which means it will have a certain period of lifetime under new procurement regulations, and it will be reopened for suppliers to apply for. It's got 4 pillars. They're calling it pillars rather than lots, which is what the traditional people are known. So you can see those 4 outlined there. And lot 4 is a combination of pillars 1 to 3. So you've got your IT managed services, digital, physical documents, records management solutions, and print and digital communications. So it's quite an original, a different one to what we're traditionally used to from them. It's got quite a broader scope, but it's very, very useful for any suppliers that missed out on Tech Services 4, and there are a number of them, or want to sell into local government, because the take-up still in Crown Commercial frameworks from local government and the wider public sector isn't quite where it should be, although they do have plans to triple the amount of throughput they're getting overall. But we can talk about that for another time. Okay, so this is one definitely, if you are on TS4 or missed out on it, and are interested in local government as well, this one is definitely one useful one for you guys. As I talked about CSS public sector software, this one is going to be a closed framework. What that means is they'll open it. When it closes, it will not be able, it won't have the ability to reopen it. It will have to wait until the framework is relet completely under a new version of it, okay? It's supposed to combine 5 current software agreements, including back office software 2, vertical application solutions, big data analytics, the AI and automation DPSs, and potentially be future aligned by maybe bringing in G-Class Lot 2A and B. But that is only our opinion. It's just kind of like when you see the writing on the wall. There's a definite potential for this one to be taken in there. All right. Now, here's the lot structure's not quite confirmed yet. We're still waiting to hear on that. And these were the 2 options that were given at the last CCS market engagement. So it's likely to have changed, but you can see there where the different lot structures are. So you've got enterprise software or specialist software and AI solutions, and then wider public sector applications. Or you've got the enterprise software, specialist software, big data analytics, and then a lot of lots for wider public sector applications there as well. All right. So, if you are providing software into the public sector, you need to be honest, right? Because it's possibly a given route that people are going to be looking to buy through. All right. Onto network services 4, another absolutely massive, key, important framework that's out there from Crown Commercial. All right. I think this, after G Cloud, this is our, and actually, saying that we have huge amounts through tech services, and it's a very big framework for us. All right. It's likely to be an open framework, which means it will have maybe a life cycle of up to 8 years with a number of refreshes during it. They are just out to market engagement just before Christmas. They've got a really good team behind them. We've been very, very well impressed with the engagement we've had there with them, and there's lots and lots of good things. Now, this is the current Network Services 3 structure. And this includes, you can sell hardware and software and services parts of it, and obviously the connectivity side of things as well. We put a big X through tactical radio because that is actually out by the tactical communications framework that's actually currently out now at the moment to apply for. I can imagine that you will see maybe a little bit more detail around the emerging technologies, and in unified communications, whether you really need to have paging and alerting and inbound telephony, where paging alerting goes back into mobile voice, who knows? Do we need analog telephony anymore? There's lots and lots of things to be talked about through this, but as I say, it's very likely to change, but this gives you an example about what for those of you who are not aware of this framework, but provide communications, data communications, telephony, what's it called, contact center, WAN, LAN WAN, commercial radio. There's an awful lot here that will be in network services 4 still, but we're still waiting for the marketing up for the market engagement for the market engagement update. All right, but I think if I remember rightly from their plans that they talked through, the final business case will be approved and this goes for approval in May. So unless the dates slip, you should be finding out what this looks like around that time, about May, June time. And again, there's a lot of these stuff we'll talk through. We are pre-booking. We've already had some bookings for this from existing suppliers. We'll talk through. Chris will talk through the successes we've had later. So finally, on to CCS, Consultancy and Professional Services. It's known as CAPS. It was the MCF framework, the much maligned management consultancy framework. This is going to be a closed framework again, so they are apparently going to be having it so that once it's there, once it's done, it's done. You will not be able to reapply maybe for 4 years. They are structuring it to be a little bit more SME friendly though. So if you can see under the lot 1 multidisciplinary lot, that will be for contracts under 1.5 million. They're looking to have 100 to 150 suppliers on that. However, if you apply for lot 1, you cannot go for lots 2 to 8. All right. The biggest amount of spend on this framework always goes through lot 3, which is the transformation organisation design. Consequently, that is super difficult to get on. All right. They require the technical certifications, which are basically a case study, 3 times £5 million contracts, and they have to be in the last 3 years as well. So I don't know many SMEs that will have that, to be honest. I think you can draw your own conclusions to where that's aimed at, but you've got the multidisciplinary there if you don't want to hedge your bets and go for that one. All right, so for medium-sized organizations, it's going to be quite a difficult one to qualify in or out on that one. I think we could definitely got lots of information that can help you on that. So we're going to run now a quick poll. This is just to gauge the temperature of the room. We do this quite often during these. So Christina, if I can hand over to you to launch our first poll, please. And this is, which frameworks do you think or would you like to be planning to apply for? We can only put 5 up in here. I'd love to put all 14. So yeah, as Chris outlined there, so look, I mean, that's really great news that there's some spread of stuff there as well. So we've got public sector software, CAPS, very interested, people interested in network services 4. Again, if you let us know the unsures, let us know. There's some tooling, there's some stuff I'm not going to take away. We've got some lovely surprises apart from having 3 Chris's to deal with today. So there's some really good surprises we've got here. So, okay, common qualification requirements. And I put here, it's getting harder and harder. All right, anyone who has just come through G Cloud, oh, by the way, we were going to run this last week, and realised it was on 2 days before G-Cloud was closing, and I don't like talking to myself, even though I am in a room here, but I do like to have some form of audience. So any of you who got through G-Cloud, congratulations, well done. But you know, the qualification for that was absolutely horrendous in some places, especially if you're going for in the infrastructure side of things. So yeah, it is getting harder and harder. I don't think PA 2023 has helped that at the moment. There is a lot of work being done allegedly with CCS, and they've got a good SME lead. So you know, hopefully some of the feedback can get back to them and they can start maybe, you know, changing direction. But they're going to be quite occupied, Crown Commercial, with their merge with various parts of government commercial function and cabinet office and things like that. So talking about some of the things that, you know, will you qualify? All right, it is so hard to find out, but the things you need to know, right? Do you meet the scope? All right, understand what the framework's about, and do you meet the scope? Have you got the insurances in place? Yeah, I was absolutely gobsmacked when they've got a £50 million insurance in place for PI, I think it was, for G-Cloud Lot 1B. Absolutely took me completely by surprise. You will need, it's Cyber Essentials is pretty much essential one for doing business with government anyway. It's good housekeeping, but also to get onto most frameworks you need to have that, and a lot of them now will require Plus as well as 27,001. So you can't say, oh, we've got 27,001, ISO 27,001, so we need that. Yeah, they are complementary now. You need to understand your economic and financial standings, where we had a lot of people questioning us and asking us for details and help with what's called the FBRA, that's our own Crown Commercial. They will also need to make sure you've got your tax, your technical so-and-so certificates, what they call, which are basically case studies. All right, and there's some rules around that. We've had people comment and say, oh, we sent the wrong date in, any chance we can get that done? And you know, you're throwing yourself at the mercy, and sometimes CCS are merciful, other times they're not. Prompt payment, a really big thing that we're very, very proud to be prompt payment gold. With the Fair Payment Code Gold. I think anyone looking to go for government should be applying for that and getting that done, because it will help you. It's just really good payment hygiene. All right. So you know, I think a lot of the US companies are starting to come a bit unstuck around that, because they are very much less than kind with their terms and conditions around payment. All right, and a quick tip: you can push back against these bullies. Oh, sorry, against these companies. They do and will, if you hold your guns, not insist on you doing 60 days net. All right. So social value is always a key part of things. So making sure you've got your social value worked out, especially around some new PPNs that are in place. Your carbon reduction plans is pretty important as well. Now, I put this in business location and VAT. There's been a couple of frameworks that have been where if you don't have a UK company and not registered for UK VAT, more on the UK company location, you will not get on them. You've been excluded. I think Tech Services had that. So be aware of that if you are a non-domiciled UK company, that this may be an issue, all right? ISO certifications, there's an ever-lengthening list now. Shared business services especially have a huge list of things they require. You need to pay a lot of attention to your subcontractors, especially if you're relying on them for your case studies, and this will be a big thing for the CAPS framework, and then making sure you're compliant with all of the various public procurement notifications, the PPNs that are out there. So as you can see, qualification is a bit of a mare, all right? So let's have another quick poll. How confident are you about qualifying frameworks? How do you feel about it? What's your experience so far been? Has it been a real pain in the bum? So look, you know, congratulations to the 22% of you who are very confident. For the slightly not very, and we don't currently, you know, I totally get it and I understand a lot about that. Okay, stick with us, all right? Stick with us. We may well have a solution for you. So if you want to close that, please, Chrissy, and we'll move on. So here we go. Over to the young Chris.
Super, thank you, the original Chris. I've been here a couple of months at Advice Cloud, and I've been trying to get my head around all these frameworks, all the differences between them, and having lots of conversations with the likes of you, people doing the same thing. So we've been busy in the background building a framework qualification tool. So it's in the final stages. We're just sort of polishing it and making it work properly. But it's designed to help you actually understand the basic requirements of these frameworks and to highlight any potential issues ahead of the framework going live. So as Chris mentioned there, the dozens of ISO qualifications that are out there, the difference between Cyber Essentials Plus and Cyber Essentials Normal, insurance levels, all these different things that are wildly varying across the frameworks that are coming to market. So we've built this tool. If you scan that QR code there, or if you can't scan the QR code, I think Christine's going to put a link after the webinar for you to be able to sign up and get early access to this tool. The idea being that it's going to sense check your readiness so that when the framework then does go live to bid on, you're not scrambling around trying to do ISO 27001 in a 2-month period whilst the framework's open for bidding. It's going to help you get those ducks in a row. It's going to identify the most urgent gaps to address, and it'll actually give you tailored recommendations on what to fix first. So it is a free tool that we've built. We know in the past, some businesses, they'll charge up to 13 grand to do a similar thing. At the moment, the first version is going to be a sort of generic. This is sort of an overview of what we see as common themes for all frameworks are. But then as we move through the year and we start getting the actual requirements for these individual frameworks, we're then going to try to then plug that information in. So it'll actually give you the drop-down ability to say, I want to qualify network services for example, or public sector software solutions, and it'll then actually give you the specific answers for that framework itself. So yeah, scan the code or click the link that Christina will share. So it's not going to be absolutely perfect and polished. It is a beta version of a tool, but it should help you with qualification, because as Chris mentioned, it's getting harder and harder.
Thanks very much, Chris. I'm really excited about this. It's a great freebie to have, and we've used tooling all the way through. So, of all of our life cycles. So, anyone who's used our spend data visualizations that we have with G-Cloud and DOS will know well that we do invest a lot of time in making sure these things work and are useful. So, cracking on. So, planning ahead for frameworks in 2026. What to do now, next, and later. I've limited time, so I want to crack on to some other things here. So as you can see here, we've set out now a bunch of things. So making sure you can gain clarity and remove any surprises. And the next one, close the gaps and get framework ready before anything opens. And then finally, make sure you're executing with control and not panic. All right. So, there's the whole thing about choosing the right one, getting on there, and then making sure actually you know how to use that framework and make sure it's used to your best thing for your sales strategy, because none of these are sources of inbound leads. Okay, so the biggest thing I can probably tell you: do not expect to get on a framework and be a source of riches. You've got a lot of hard work to do. You thought you worked hard to get on there. Wait, then you need to really start the work. Okay, so we move on this. There's a bit of a framework readiness checklist for you there, so you can go there. I've got to confirm my shortlist. There's the qualification requirements, financial insurance in place. There's a whole load of stuff here that you can take this away. There is going to be a takeaway as well, Chris has just mentioned. We've got quite a lot of freebies. Again, there's another big freebie for you today. Again, Chris will talk to you a bit more detail about that as we crack on. And finally, decisions you need to really make ASAP. Which of your frameworks you want to prioritise for 2026 and why? Which frameworks are you ruling out and why? What are your top 3 blockers to qualifications of readiness? Who owns each blocker and what's your deadline? What internal time can we realistically commit each month to these? And if you can't answer those questions, give us a shout. We can definitely help you, all right? Of which I'm naturally segueing into young Chris.
That was a lovely segue there. I love what you did there. We're here to help you. Whether you're looking to get on your first framework, whether you're looking to start your journey in the public sector, or whether you're looking to maximize the current frameworks or you're on, or moving into a new market, a new sector, we're here to help. And there are a variety of ways that we can help, and just a few of our services are listed here. Long-term customers, you'll probably associate us purely with CCS frameworks, particularly G-Cloud starting off, with the background for the company. And you'll have seen in Chris's slides earlier, we had WIPO logos, we had NHS SBS logos, and Met Office logos. So we are broadening the frameworks that we're here to support you on. It'd be rude not to mention our pipeline planning and qualification services. Again, as Chris mentioned earlier, with the changes and the variances, it is more important, it's critical to proactively identify and qualify your frameworks as early as possible. And we offer that as a service. Equally, when Chris mentioned the last slide about the reasons why you've qualified frameworks out, my history, working over 12 years with businesses, finding and winning work in the public sector, the amount of people that have come to me and say, well, we didn't bid on that framework 2 years ago because we didn't have the time, or someone was on holiday, or we were just really busy. And that's a 5-year framework that you've lost the opportunity to bid on. We're here to help on those. So 2 of the main services that we offer is the framework application service. As Chris mentioned, we were supposed to do this last week when it was G-Cloud, probably our busiest time of the year, a lot of our clients' busiest time of the year. Chris, I think we had 150 plus companies we were supporting on G-Cloud from memory.
I think it was 100 companies, 150 odd services we listed, but yeah.
Some serious numbers there. And that is ultimately one of our key things we offer is framework application support. We do 2 things in there. We either offer a managed service or review service. Going back to slide 6, I think it was, where in that sort of final right-hand side column, there was managed or review. They're the 2 offerings that we do. So review is where you provide the framework, you produce the content, and one of our team of experts will review that and help you to enrich the content and make it score more highly. It is a more hands-off approach from our side, but it still gives you an incredible value and makes your framework submission far more winnable to give you the best chance to get onto that framework. It is always worth having a second set of eyes on on any submission, I'd say, but especially for framework submissions where, again, they're 5, sometimes 8-year commitments and multi-million or multi-billion pound market opportunities. So not getting onto them can be really key to your business. Again, I can't remember the exact stats from earlier. I think it was 25 million that business had missed out on by not being on a framework. If that's something missed on your submission that a review would have picked up, it's really key to get those done. The other one's the managed service. Now, again, 12 years helping businesses win work. Everybody asks me, do you offer a guarantee? I've always said no, because I've never worked at an organization that offers a guarantee. Advice Cloud, we are so confident by going through our managed service for a framework application listing that if we don't get you onto that framework and it's through our fault, not yours, we'll actually refund the cost of your listing, the work that we did. Being a Yorkshireman, I don't like giving money away. I've got short arms, deep pockets, but we don't actually use that service because we don't need to. The last few frameworks we've supported clients on, we've had 100% quality scores on that. A lot of the companies who work with us for the first time come back to us when they get their award and go, how were you able to do that? What is this magic or this witchcraft? They've never had quality scores that high. It is because we are a procurement first consultancy. We are, as Chris said, ex-buyers. We've come from the public sector. We know what they're looking for, and that is at the heart of all of our work. So again, once you're on the framework, the work doesn't stop. It only actually starts there. And that's where our bid services come in, actually helping with those call-offs, whether it's you need capacity, whether it's you need to outsource the bid fully, whether you need the review, we can help you with those things. And here's just a few numbers on a page about the recent successes that we've had. And 94% average quality score. I don't think many businesses or the consultancies can boast that score percentage. Equally, a 98% success rate. As Chris always says, we're not in the business of giving away money, which is why we back ourselves and we produce that guarantee. It is completely de-risking your application to a framework. As a business, I wouldn't want to spend a load of money and have it, have a risky approach. That's why we offer that on the managed services, because we're excellent at doing that for you. Again, we've done 11 iterations of G-Cloud. We know it inside out. And here's again some more framework successes listed out. We'll happily show you these figures. We are proud of them. We are confident in what we do and how we do it. You can see there the number of 100% that we've got on that list. And I think the lowest is 83% on one framework there. So incredibly high numbers that we've supported our clients to get those quality scores on these frameworks. And long may that continue. We've increased our capacity. We had to turn away quite a few people for G-Cloud because they came to us late once we'd hit capacity. So if you are looking to get support from us and to work with us on any of those 14 frameworks that are coming up in the next 12 months, come to us early. Don't leave it too late. We hate turning people away, but sometimes we have to, because we just simply, we can't do any more. We back our quality and the guarantee that we offer, which is why we are already booking people for, I think, software services. Chris, we've already got people booked in for that. And frameworks aren't due to go out till Q3. They want our support on it. They've booked it. They've put down the deposit, and we're going to be supporting those businesses. So if it's on your pipeline, come to us now. Don't leave it too late. So yeah, there's just a sort of summary of the listing. And again, we guarantee to get you listed or you get your money back. There is a sort of small asterisk to that. It's if it's something in our control that we've done wrong. But I think once, Chris, we've actually had to pay back on that guarantee in the entire time of the business.
It was on big data analytics, and that was a 50-50 choice, but we decided that we would give back some of the money that was on that to the company. So yeah, still gets me that one. We've not given any money back for 5 years, for 3 years now. I think it was the last time, the only and last time.
Yeah. So, you know, if you are looking for help, if you want to de-risk your framework applications, if you're one of these massive frameworks with billions and billions of pounds, say, come to us early. You don't have to put up all the money up front. You can put up a small deposit to book a slot on that framework. We're more than happy to do that. Or if you just don't know what's coming up and you're looking at those 14 plus frameworks and you're sort of spinning around in circles thinking which one's best for us, again, we can provide a service to help you actually plan and build your framework, your pipeline of frameworks, as well as making sure you hit those minimum requirements so that when it does come out, you're actually able to bid and get onto it with our help. So yeah, that's everything. That's a sort of whistle-stop tour. More information on the website. And again, anything you do want to have, come to me, come to my team, come to any of us, and there you go. Link on the nice segue in there as well. Click on that link or scan that QR code. That'll take you to our diaries. Come to us for a chat. We'll have heard the question. We'll have given the answer many, many times before. Come and talk to us.
Thanks, Chris. That's great. Thank you so much. So we're going to quickly run into a poll now before we hit Q&A. So it's the final poll, for, I believe, for this one. Chris, if you wouldn't mind running that one. So how did you find this? Did you find this masterclass useful? Is it very useful? It was useful, not useful at all. Hooray! So first one I've done for a while, we're our detractor, the one person who says no, it wasn't useful. Thank you so much. That really warms my heart. So we've worked really, really hard in the background. Obviously, we're managing GCloud and getting this done. So massive, massive thank yous to Christina for all the work that she's done on this as well. So thank you so much for your feedback about it's useful, very useful or useful. Any feedback you've got for us, that'd be great. Let's quickly wrap into some Q&A. We've got time now. We try to leave a lot of time for questions. And you know, let's see what we've got.
Yeah, we've got a few questions that have come in here. Just quickly, I would like to apologise for how I sound currently. I've got one of the lovely illnesses going around right now, so please bear with me as I read out these questions. First off, I've got for Chris Farthing. Are you speaking to anyone who is recently successful on DOS 7, and what are their next steps in bidding on the framework?
Well, funnily enough, as I believe, yeah, we can play something. No, we've got lots of our clients. We do a lot of work around DOS 7, okay, and we've done lots of did a lot of work on DOS 7. We do a lot of work around DOS anyway. I was involved in the original setting up of the framework. One of our strategic advisors, Tony Singleton, was the lead at Government Digital Service who brought DOS to market. And we are running another, I think I can call this one a webinar, not a masterclass, but we can call it a masterclass if you like, in March, the first week in March, around what to do now. This is going to be a public one. So again, if you just get in touch to register around that, we'll make sure that you are aligned. Once the link details are published to get that. Okay, so just get in touch to say, yeah, I'm interested in that. And you know, we definitely, or if you just want to have a chat to us about the stuff that we offer on that, that's fine. But we're going to do because the go live date has been pushed back now to, I think it's towards the end of March supposedly, or some point in March. But you never know, it might be brought forward again. But we have lots and lots of experience about how the frame works and how the work is won. But you shouldn't really be waiting for the tenders to come out, in all honesty.
Great, thank you.
Next question, please.
The public sector software framework, someone said the slide says June/July 26 submission, but live in December 27. Is that correct?
Do you know what? I think it was. I'll have to. Can we check that one? We'll check and come back to you on that one, okay?
Yeah.
We may have moved it around, so we'll check that. Could be a typo.
The framework award is winter 2027.
Winter 2027.
Yeah. So there's a big level of evaluation going on in there. So who knows what they're going to be doing for a year? It's not like it's only likely to be open for a couple of months.
This one isn't a question, but I would quite like to share it. This is from David Kershaw. He has just said, this is outstanding. What the Advice Cow team does and can do is first class. Do listen to them. Thank you very much.
Thanks, David.
Someone else has said, how early should we start planning before a major framework launch?
Now, at least 6 months. 6 months beforehand, I would really, as best as possible, the way that some of the qualification stuff's going at the moment, and what we're seeing, as soon as they start market engagement, you'll see usually market engagement will start about 9 months to a year beforehand. So I would start thinking about that and whether you're going to qualify in for it and whether you want it. And then 6 months before, I would say you really ought to start making those decisions and starting to get yourself starting to get ready for it. All right. Leaving it to 3 months could leave you 3 months beforehand could still leave you scrabbling around for a potential ISO that you didn't see that was coming, or being caught out by it suddenly gets launched in silly season, which is upon us right now. So it's budget dump season, March Madness is coming up, so you might find yourself caught out. I would say as soon as pre-market engagement starts, I would start considering what you're going to do around it.
Yeah, definitely. How do we measure the success of our framework strategy over the year?
Is that how do we advise Cloud, or how do you?
Sorry, yeah, I think they mean how does a supplier measure the success?
How would the supplier measure their success? Well, for a start, what do you get on there? 2, the number of opportunities that you're seeing, or how it's influencing your conversations. Chris, have you got anything to add on that? I mean, deals one's usually a good one, but at least if you're having upfront conversations beforehand, I think, and be able to use it that way.
Yeah, revenue is the ultimate goal, isn't it? Is if you're making money off the framework that you've got onto, then yeah. But then equally, is if you may not trade on the framework, but it might have generated you opportunities that you've either gone direct to market with, or that's generated an open market opportunities. Ultimately, record the activities and record the outcomes in your CRM as to sort of what. Have we gone direct, or has it generated anything else? Or are we just, page number 327 on the old Argos catalogue and people have just looked at us and passed us by?
Good advice, good stuff.
What support can we get if we're new to public sector frameworks, someone asks?
So there's a bunch of things that we can help you with, all right? So first of all, we can talk to you around go-to-market. We can either help you that ourselves. So that could be, is your stuff being bought by the public sector? What you're offering? Is there a market for what you're offering? We can then help develop the value propositions, identify target markets, help you build a sales plan and a marketing plan, making sure that you've got all your social value. So we call a lot of this making you buyable. And we actually have a buyability review that you can take. It's a free of charge tool again as well. It can help you identify the gaps that you need to work on, but give us a call and we can help you identify those give you a timed action plan to help you make the best efforts to break into public sector. And also, remember, we've got a huge number of clients as well that are already trading. So in the meantime, we could probably find some friends for you to go and talk to, or maybe you could go and help you. If you think you might have an opportunity that's worthwhile, say for Ministry of Justice, I know 5 companies that will probably say, yeah, come and talk to us and we'll see if we can introduce you to people. So there's a number of different ways that we can help you on that. Just give us a shout.
Yeah.
We'd love to talk to you.
Just to follow up on that, there is a link that I've posted in the chat box for you to be able to book a call in with us. So please do use that link. And there's also a QR code on the screen currently that you can use as well.
Thanks, Chrissy.
We've been asked if we can compare the public sector software framework with G-Cloud and why you might want to be on both.
So G-Cloud is very much of what you see is what you get, okay? With public sector software, so you have to put an offer up, and a buyer in the main is supposed to check and evaluate you side by side with other providers, and the terms and conditions are fixed, the pricing is fixed, the contract length you're given a maximum on the contract length. It's very, very tightly organized. It's supposed to be a catalog, remember, so you're supposed to be buying some stuff off a catalog. Yeah. Now we all know that it doesn't quite work that way, all right, especially for lot 3, which is you can't buy professional services in a catalog way, but it can, it certainly facilitates quick buying. Why to get on the more major frameworks, such as public sector software? Well, for best will in the world, there is a drive to move a large number of departments away from buying from G-Cloud. Okay, we're seeing and hearing it. So there are specific verticals that you're in, or the specific types of software and stuff you're buying. You can have a much more nuanced contract that's tailored to that organization that you're selling to. It can be longer, there can be different key metrics in there. There's a number of different reasons why, and I'm more than happy to explore in detail about that. But there are definitely, if you are selling software into the public sector, it's not one you're going to want to miss out on, I think. And ultimately, I mean, you've got to look at the trajectory and way that CCS talk about G-Cloud. It has its uses, but it's been around for 12 years now, and CCS haven't particularly ever liked it, in all honesty. So you can really potentially see the writing on the wall. It might be 5 years away from the framework ends. G-Cloud 15 and its various refreshes might well be the last you see of lot 2. If public sector software is a success. I mean, anyone who went through the cloud compute debacle will know that lot 1 is still going and kicking. So that was intended to take lot 1 away. So who knows where this will go, but this is combining a number of different frameworks into a much more centralized and easier route to market. I think it's one that you really won't be missing out on if selling software is your thing.
Great, thank you.
Oh, and sorry, there's a deployment. There's one other thing. There's a deployment model. Is cloud is supposed to be? You're not supposed to put it onto their infrastructure. It's not supposed to be. What's it called? Not even private cloud. Yeah, it's not supposed to be on premise. Whereas you can have all sorts of different deployment methods through public sector software.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
We have another question here on DOS. So someone asks, now that the DOS 7 framework is live, are these other frameworks part of this? So do we have to continue applying for specific frameworks within the wider framework?
So DOS is its own particular scope. Yeah, so you've got digital outcomes, digital specialists, there's the program side, there's user research and studios. Okay. Now, you can't buy software through that. You can buy bespoke built software. That's what it's designed for. But you can't buy off-the-shelf software. You can't buy recruitment. So if you're selling network services or you're selling hardware, that can't be through DOS. If you're selling services elsewhere, unfortunately, there are still a bunch of different services-based frameworks that are out there. I think at last count, there was something like 480 different tech frameworks out in the UK public sector. Many of them not really worth it, to be honest, not really worth it getting on. That's why we just with what we think are the key and potential core ones going for the next year. So I was thinking framework should always be just a route to market. Okay, it's not going to take away the need for you to sell. Right? It's not a source of inbound leads. So it needs to be whatever you're selling, it has to match what you're selling. So I wouldn't be on DOS and expecting all the opportunities to suddenly come to you. You have to go out there and still do the work. Okay.
So that's a good option for looking at other market intelligence tools as well. So rather than, there are dozens of frameworks that you may want to get listed on, but if your buyers that you're trying to work with aren't buying through those frameworks, then that's a qualification question of, do we want to invest the time, effort and resource in getting onto that framework if it's only being used by HEFE market and we're trading with local gov? So there are platforms available in the market, and we're happy to talk to you and make referrals to them as partners of ours. They're great because it will help you make those choices of which are the right frameworks for you based on where your target audience are or have been buying from, or where your competitors are. So yeah, not every framework is the right framework opportunity, even if it is for what you deliver or what you do. So, you know, taking that research-based intelligence-led approach is really important.
And bear in mind that there's a few thousand suppliers on DOS. It's a busy framework. A lot of the ones that we're recommending will have a lot less suppliers on those as well.
Yeah. With the suppliers you're supporting, how many of them or how often are people being requested to provide a letter of intent to guarantee based on their FVRA submission?
You know what? I don't know. We can check with our delivery team on that. It's not something particularly comes up in conversation because we've got a lot of mitigations that we can do prior to getting to that. So leave that with us, and we'll ask our delivery team that question. Okay.
Yeah.
We may. I'm not going to let that question delay us sending out the docs. It may take us a bit of time to get that and gather that data. So if we might leave it as a TBC when we send out the answer to all the questions that we've given here. Okay.
Yeah, we'll send a further email out probably next week, I think, with the updated answers to that. We have a question here on events and things that we host. So someone says, do you organise any in real life events at Advice Cloud that suppliers can join to learn from and engage more with your team?
We have a regular webinar masterclass program that we're putting together ready for the year ahead. Many of our clients will get one every couple of months, just as a progress checkup, see how you're doing. There's always a webinar around how, you know, once you've got onto a framework, once it's been awarded, so, okay, what next, what to do. So once the framework closes, we'll do a call to say, okay, what you need to start doing now. And then once it goes live, we say, okay, how things going to happen is, here's a refresher. Are you still doing this? Face-to-face events, we used to do one a year. But we're not doing that at the moment. We're just having a little refresh and review about that, about what we want to do. But we do have people that we can strongly recommend. One of an old friend of mine, Matt Stanley, runs Think Digital. And I have to say that, you know, if you want to actually network with public sector buyers that are actually meaningful, those are probably the best events to attend. They do cost, though. You're probably going to have to get a standout on those. But you know, the footfall through those and the level of buyers and that he's absolutely top of his game on that one. Others like DigiGov and things like that, you'll end up speaking to a lot of people that you already know are the suppliers on. So I'm a bit, but yeah, we do make recommendations for events, but we're not planning to host any of our own at the moment, apart from our webinar masterclass series is.
Yeah. Tech UK is one it's probably worth mentioning as well, Chris. We are looking to do some in real life events with Tech UK, particularly in the healthcare market.
Of course, yes.
So that, conscious that we've got two big healthcare tech frameworks coming up sort of summertime, we are looking at doing some events with Tech UK. So that's going to be, again, meet the buyer and also meet some suppliers. Partnering, really important. So again, can meet both sides of the spectrum and hopefully learn some things from us as well at the same time. So
yeah,
for
my shame, I forgot about our with Tech UK. I've only been working with them for 10 years. Thanks for that, Chris. Sorry, Tech UK. I think we could do one more question, Chrissy, and then we're going to call it a day.
Yeah, I've got one more here. So someone asks, do public sector procurement departments formally sign up to and or pay for the use of frameworks, or is it just a pick and mix basis?
Now, there are some that they have to pay a levy to use. I can think of, but that's often put onto the supplier to pay for, but it gets wrapped up into the cost of service. So there are some, but most of the current commercial services are free to use by the buyer. Okay, and as far as I'm aware, most of the YPO ones and the NHS SBS ones as well are free to use by the buyer, but there is usually a levy unless you're using their managed procurement services. My cost is going back. So then there will be probably a likely cost in there because there's a sunk cost for those people providing that service for them. But it's a bit of a mix on that one. But most of them, certainly CCS, if you're not using their managed procurement service, are free to use by buyers. And I think that's it then, I take it.
Yeah, that's everything.
Well, thank you so much, everyone here. Delighted to, I hope this has been useful for you. Obviously it has, you told me it has. You know, you've got some practical tips that you can apply straight away. There's the call there we can book to get through there. Please do keep in touch. We have a whole bank of accessible resources on our Knowledge Hub, which is on our website. For those of you watching this recording on YouTube, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more public sector procurement tips and advice. Follow us on LinkedIn and stay up to date with all the latest from the public sector and our Centre Advice Cloud. Really best of luck with Framework we're getting to. Huge thanks to Chris and Chrissy, and to you all. I wish you all the very best and hopefully see you around soon.